the 10 best Simpsons predictions of all time. Welcome to the most amazing channel, where reality and animation collide. For decades, The Simpsons has made us laugh with its over-the-top humor and colorful cast. But beneath the jokes lies something far more mysterious, a jaw-dropping ability to predict the future. From world leaders to scientific discoveries, from smartwatches to pandemics, this cartoon has somehow gotten it eerily right, time and time again. Today, we're diving into the 10 best Simpsons predictions of all time. Some are hilarious, some are downright spooky, and all of them will make you wonder, did The Simpsons know something the rest of us didn't? Prediction number 1. Donald Trump becomes president. In the 2000 episode Bart to the Future, viewers got a glimpse of an adult Lisa Simpson as the President of the United States. During a cabinet meeting, she casually mentions inheriting quite a budget crunch from President Trump. At the time, this was pure satire. Trump had flirted with politics, but was mostly seen as a flashy billionaire with zero chance of winning high office. Fast forward to 2016, and the unthinkable happened. Donald Trump actually became the 45th President of the United States. People quickly pointed fingers at The Simpsons, amazed by its prophetic powers. The show's writers claimed it was meant as a ridiculous gag, a symbol of how absurd the future could be. But when it came true, fans were stunned. Even the visual similarities from Trump's campaign, his escalator ride, the suit, the thumbs up, appeared nearly identical to animations from a later Simpsons short. Whether coincidence or uncanny foresight, this prediction launched a new wave of public fascination with the show's ability to forecast real-world events. When a cartoon joke becomes history, you can't help but ask, how did they see it coming? Prediction number 2. Disney buys 20th Century Fox. In the 1998 episode When You Dish Upon a Star, Homer stumbles into the world of Hollywood and ends up pitching movie ideas at the Fox studio lot. As the camera pans out, there's a sign that reads, 20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney Company. At the time, it was a throwaway joke poking fun at corporate monopolies in entertainment. No one took it seriously. After all, Disney and Fox were giant rivals. Then came 2017. Disney announced its plan to acquire most of 21st Century Fox for a staggering $71 billion. A deal finalized in 2019. The entertainment world was shaken, and once again, The Simpsons' prediction became real news. Suddenly, that old gag from a cartoon looked like insider knowledge. What makes this even creepier is that The Simpsons themselves became part of the Disney empire through this very merger. Yes, The Simpsons now stream on Disney+, the same show that once joked about being owned by Disney. It's meta, ironic, and just a little bit unsettling. What was once a cartoon punchline is now a historical milestone in entertainment, proving that sometimes the most outrageous satire becomes corporate reality. Prediction number 3. Smartwatches. Back in 1995, the episode Lisa's Wedding took viewers into the distant future. Well, the year 2010. In it, Lisa visits a fortune teller who shows her grown-up life. At one point, her fiancé speaks into a wristwatch, using it like a phone. It seemed like classic sci-fi nonsense, the kind of thing you'd only see in cartoons or spy movies. But jump ahead a couple decades, and smartwatches are everywhere. Apple Watches, Samsung Gear, Fitbit. Today, millions of people walk around with mini computers on their wrists, tracking steps, sending texts, making calls, and even monitoring heart rates. It's not just a gadget, it's a lifestyle. What's fascinating is how early The Simpsons caught on to this. Before smartphones ruled our lives and long before wearable tech was a market, they envisioned a world where people would use their wrists to communicate. It wasn't a throwaway joke. It was woven into the futuristic setting of the episode, treated like a normal part of everyday life. While the tech world credits inventors, engineers, and Silicon Valley visionaries, maybe we should give a nod to The Simpsons too. They weren't just ahead of their time, they helped imagine the very future we're now living in. Prediction number 4. The Higgs Bosan equation. In the 1998 episode, The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, Homer decides to become an inventor, inspired by Thomas Edison. In one scene, he stands in front of a chalkboard filled with bizarre inventions and complex math equations. One of those equations, written by Homer himself, remained a quirky visual gag for years. until real-life science caught up. In 2012, physicists at CERN announced the discovery of the Higgs boson particle, often referred to as the God particle, confirming a major piece of the standard model of particle physics. Scientists were stunned when they later analyzed Homer's chalkboard formula and realized it was eerily close to the actual equation used to predict the mass of the Higgs boson, despite the episode airing more than a decade before the breakthrough. It turns out one of the show's writers had a background in physics, and the formula was more than just a joke. It was thoughtful, imaginative math. Still, the coincidence is striking. It's not every day that a cartoon character known for donuts and naps scribbles down a near-accurate prediction of a major scientific milestone. In this case, Homer Simpson came frighteningly close to outsmarting the world's top physicists. Prediction number 5. Zigfried and Roy Tiger Attack. In 1993, The Simpsons aired an episode titled Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling. As Springfield opens its own casino, a Las Vegas-style magic act called Gunter and Ernst takes the stage. Clearly inspired by the real-life duo Zigfried and Roy, they dazzle audiences with white tigers, until one of the big cats unexpectedly turns on them and attacks. The scene plays for laughs, with the over-the-top dramatics of the cartoon. But a decade later, in 2003, the joke became reality in the most tragic way. During a live show in Las Vegas, Roy Horn was mauled on stage by one of his beloved white tigers, Autocorrect. The attack left Roy critically injured and effectively ended the legendary duo's career. The eerie accuracy of the Simpsons scene didn't go unnoticed. Fans pointed to it as yet another example of the show predicting the future. While it's likely a dark coincidence, considering the risks involved in performing with wild animals, the timing and similarity were shocking. Once again, a seemingly silly moment from The Simpsons turned out to mirror real-life events far more closely than anyone expected. Prediction number 6. Ebola virus outbreak warning. Back in 1997, The Simpsons aired an episode titled Lisa's Sacks. In one early scene, Marge tries to get a sick Bart to read a book while resting in bed. The title? Curious George and the Ebola Virus. At the time, Ebola was relatively unknown to the average viewer, a distant and rare disease mostly affecting parts of Africa. Most people saw the reference as a random, absurd choice meant to add a weird flavor to the scene. But in 2014, the world faced the deadliest Ebola outbreak in history, with thousands of deaths across West Africa and panic spreading worldwide. As headlines filled with reports about the virus, that old Simpsons clip resurfaced and went viral. Viewers were shocked that the show had mentioned Ebola so specifically years before it became a global concern. Of course, The Simpsons didn't predict the outbreak itself, but the mention of Ebola in such a casual context, long before it was widely known, felt strangely prophetic. It highlighted how the show often tucked real-world references into its scripts, some of which later became shockingly relevant. Once again, fans wondered, how does this cartoon keep brushing so close to real life? Prediction number 7. Nobel Prize Prediction. In the 2010 episode titled Boy Meets Curl, The Simpsons once again wove a subtle gag that would become astonishingly real. In one scene, Martin, Milhouse, Lisa, and Database form a fantasy Nobel Prize betting pool, writing their picks on a whiteboard. Among the names listed is Bengt Holmstrom, a real-life economist who, at the time, wasn't exactly a household name. Fast forward to 2016, and Bengt Holmstrom wins the Nobel Prize in Economics, sharing the honor for his work on contract theory. The coincidence sent shockwaves through fans and media outlets alike. How did The Simpsons get it so right? Again? While it may seem prophetic, this case also had a dose of hidden intelligence. Many of The Simpsons writers have strong academic backgrounds, including PhDs in mathematics and economics. One writer, Jeff Westbrook, studied theoretical computer science, and the inclusion of Holmstrom's name was likely due to this deep bench of intellectual talent. Still, for casual viewers, it was another eerie moment where fiction overlapped with fact. What was once just a clever detail in a whiteboard joke became a moment of real-world glory. Another chapter in the show's strange history of accidental clairvoyance. Prediction number 8. Video calls. In the 1995 episode Lisa's Wedding, The Simpsons leaps forward to the year 2010, presenting a futuristic vision of the family's lives. Among the many tech gags in the episode, one stands out today as shockingly accurate. Lisa speaks to her fiancé via video call on a screen, a concept that was futuristic at the time. Back in the mid-90s, video calling was still science fiction. It appeared in movies, sci-fi books, and futuristic cartoons like The Jetsons, but hadn't entered real life. Fast forward to the 2010s and beyond, and video conferencing became part of our everyday world. From Skype and FaceTime to the global explosion of Zoom during the pandemic, talking to people through screens is now a daily habit. What's particularly interesting is how The Simpsons didn't just predict the tech. It nailed how we'd use it, casually, personally, and at home. Lisa isn't using it for a corporate call. She's checking in with her loved one. That human side of technology, not just the device itself, is what makes the prediction resonate. Once again, the show proved it wasn't just lampooning the future, it was eerily forecasting how we'd actually live it. Prediction number 9. Horsemeat in school lunches. In a 1994 episode titled Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song, a blink and you'll miss it moment became one of The Simpsons' most disturbing real-world predictions. As lunch lady Doris prepares meals in the school cafeteria, she casually adds assorted horse parts into the food. At the time, it was a gag that played off public concerns about the mystery meat served in schools. Funny, exaggerated, and unsettling. But in 2013, reality caught up in a shocking way. A major scandal erupted across Europe when investigators discovered that products advertised as beef, particularly frozen meals, actually contained horse meat. Retailers, food companies, and consumers were horrified. Some meat products were found to contain up to 100% horse meat, despite labels claiming otherwise. The controversy led to massive recalls, stricter food labeling regulations, and a huge public backlash. Suddenly, that old Simpsons joke didn't seem so funny anymore. It felt like a warning. Whether it was an educated guess or a sharp jab at the food industry, the episode's throwaway line became frighteningly relevant. Once again, The Simpsons had tossed out a joke that turned into a headline, proving perhaps that their satire cuts closer to the bone than anyone expected. Prediction number 10. Autocorrect fails. In the 1994 episode Lisa on Ice, The Simpsons dropped what seemed like a small tech joke at the time, but it would go on to predict one of the most frustrating tech quirks of the modern era. In the episode, school bully Dolph types a note into his Apple Newton. He intends to write, "Beat up Martin," but the device hilariously translates it to, "Eat up Martha." This gag struck a chord with real-life tech developers. In fact, engineers at Apple later admitted that the joke became infamous within the company as a rallying cry for fixing autocorrect features. It highlighted just how unreliable early predictive text and handwriting recognition could be. Fast forward to today, and autocorrect is still an ongoing punchline. From embarrassing texts to misfired emails, we've all fallen victim to bizarre word substitutions that change meanings entirely. Even with advances in AI and natural language processing, autocorrect still gets it hilariously, and sometimes dangerously, wrong. Once again, The Simpsons had taken a shot at new technology, and once again, they nailed it. What was once a quick gag about a clunky device became a symbol of our ongoing battle with smart tech that often isn't. From presidential elections to predictive text, The Simpsons has repeatedly turned jokes into reality with eerie precision. What started as a satire of American life somehow became a crystal ball for world events, technology, and even science. So what's really going on here? Are the writers just that insightful? Or is Springfield tapped into something deeper? Whether it's clever writing, sharp observation, or pure coincidence, one thing's certain. The world should pay closer attention to this animated town. Next time Homer trips over the future, or Lisa uncovers a hidden truth, it might not just be entertainment, it could be tomorrow's headline. So stay tuned, because The Simpsons may still have a few more predictions that will blow your mind.